Breaking tonight, if you are just joining us, a court hearing has just wrapped up over the president's executive order restricting travel from 7 Mideast countries. Since the arguments ended about a half an hour ago, reaction has been pouring in from all over. Let's go quickly back to Michael Wilds. He is an immigration attorney who previously represented the Trump Organization, but now opposes the president's immigration order. And Chris Gober is an attorney and former deputy counsel to the RNC and counsel in the Office of Legal Policy at the Justice Department. Gentlemen, welcome back. Good to have both of you with us tonight. Chris, let me start back with you. You know, everybody was listening very intently to this, and you feel like you can sort of tell which way these judges are leaning, but you really can't necessarily, can you?
Well, a lot of times you can kind of gather where a judge is coming from based off their questions. One thing that struck me was Judge Friedland's insistence of how this executive order potentially violated the Establishment Clause. And what struck me about that is that actually goes far beyond really the scope of the plaintiff's complaint in the overall.
And just for everyone at home, by saying that, you mean that she's suggesting that it's discriminatory on the face of it.
Right.
Correct?
So she's getting into questions of whether this violates the Establishment Clause. And if you look at the complaint actually filed by the plaintiffs, even they don't spend that much time on the Establishment Clause. They were really seeking a different relief. And so you saw her focus on that aspect of the case. And that signaled a lot to me.
Yeah. I mean, how do you sort of separate that? How do you not look at that, Michael, as her coming into this with sort of a predisposition to believe that this order was discriminatory?
This is perhaps the most disappointing of all this. The president, in truth, a patriot as the presidents before him, acted quickly and decisively to protect Americans. And this really belongs in the chambers of Congress, not in the judicial chambers or halls with robes. Policy and national security is something that should have a bit of quiet and a bit of pause to it and not be in the courts. I am completely disappointed in our demasculated Congress in this respect. It's a sad day when this cannot be done properly because we see these beautiful golden doors of America not only being a heritage to our founding fathers who established lawful means of coming to this country, but a great entrepreneurship, a great, rich, robust vibrancy that we see.
But this order,
from the
in and
streets
of
New York
itself,
to
Michael,
elsewhere,
is not stopping anyone ultimately from getting here. It is slowing the process down and reviewing the vetting process for how people come in.
Well, we need to have a better vetting process. But
okay, so that's what they're trying to do here.
But this was not done. This was not done constitutionally or judiciously. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done. Of course it has to be done. But there are 100 different ways to do it. You can't get proper documents from a lot of these countries. Is this an unconstitutional order by the president? Pardon?
Chris Gober, is this an unconstitutional order by the president?
Well, I think whether you agree or disagree with this order, the fact of the matter is here in this litigation, the state of Washington has not proved that they have been harmed by the fact that a Syrian refugee cannot get over to the United States. So whether you disagree or agree with this order, the fact of the matter is this is not the litigation or the case to determine whether it violates the Establishment Clause. And frankly, the Ninth Circuit should issue a ruling that is far more narrow than that.
I don't believe, Martha, and I disagree, Chris, I don't believe the case is standing on the potential of a Syrian national, but the rights of those permanent residents and those visa holders that are working with ties
Michael,
to America.
this order was placed out on a Friday, January 27th. By the weekend, by Sunday, green card holders and permanent residents were relieved. Okay, so that was a 48-hour problem that they admitted was a mistake in the way that it rolled out that was fixed in 2 days. So how is that irreparable harm to anyone, any company, anyone?
It's not just the rollout. It's not just the damage control or the interpretation. The document itself, Article 3 of this executive order, says anyone from. It has to be either recanted, retooled, or rescinded. But in other words, it doesn't talk about dual nationals and green card holders. It really doesn't reflect well of the golden doors of America.
Within 48 hours. You're talking about the golden doors of America, but I'm talking about the facts of the matter in this executive order and who it actually affected. Gentlemen, thank you. And it's a fascinating argument, and thank you for keeping a close eye on it with us tonight. So what does all this mean for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Neil